Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we'll talk about the procedure of buying a house in Ghent. And if you've already seen our previous videos, we'll put the link in the description below. Please check. Let's just dive straight into the topic of what all it took for us to, legally get this procedure done.
One might think after you fix at an apartment or house, the story ends.
We were like, oh yeah, we fixed it, we found something, and then actually we didn't realize the storm was just coming.
After receiving the apartment, the big steps start. Before we discuss about those big steps, we wanted to make sure we will get a loan. So we went to a bank to check our capabilities. So we went to different banks. First, we'll talk about the first thing we did. We went to our bank first, the bank that we have current account with, and it was a neutral meeting, I would say. Why I say neutral is because the person was a little bit young, so maybe she didn't understand a few aspects, and also we are also young. We also didn't understand many of the things because we don't know how things work here and the kind of contribution that we need to have. So we were communicating, we have this much right now, and we will have in a few months this much, and when we sign the authentic deed, we will have this much. And she was like, no, that's not how it works. We will consider the amount that you have on the day when you are giving us the signed compromis, the sales agreement. We will explain about the sales agreement in next steps. So we understood a few aspects in this meeting.
Like he said, it also ended up in a neutral tone, and also we realized some more things from the appointment was like if your loan is more than $500,000, or like if you're asking for a loan that's more than 90%. Also, this 90% is not actual value of the property. It's like they have their own ways of calculating what 90% is, which is like 1% of the land and this percent of this property, which is actually not the 90%. But then that's what for the bank considers as 90%. And also 40% of, if it's more than 40% of your net income, like together. In any of these cases, like these applications will go to the head office. So by this, also what they try to tell us is it will take 2 weeks time for your answer to have a yes or no. So you have to plan your things accordingly.
So basically we understood the steps involved to obtain a loan through these appointments.
So then we also booked appointments with different banks, to be precise 6 banks, because we need to know like what different banks have to offer. And here came a biggest enlightenment. Like there's a bank, I'm not saying names, there's a bank X that we had this the most shortest appointment of our entire life, like less than 5 minutes. So as soon as we entered, a bit of story time. As soon as we entered, he was like, okay, give me your residence permit, let's see. And he was so excited. He saw all our projects and he was like, let's come, let's talk about it and everything. So when we went, he was like, okay, give me your residence permit. And as soon as he saw that, he was like, sorry, we don't give loan for these resident permits. I was like, what do you mean by these resident permits? He was like, you're an A card. It means you're like in a temporary permit. I was like, this has to be the biggest enlightenment of our lives. We have never heard the term ever before. So we asked him, can you please brief us more on what you're trying to explain? So he was like, A card also means like your temporary residence. So if you are in Belgium and if you have a resident permit, you can already look into it. That's going to be an alphabet A, which means like, for example, if you move into a country, irrespective of you have like long-term contract, indefinite contract, like we both have permanent contracts, but still, if it's your first 3 years, you get first A card. And after 3 years, you still have to renew it and you will still get an A card. And only after 5 years, you will get a long-term indefinite residence. So which is like a different number, not A, which could be B or L, or it depends on your situation. So like these small banks, like they feel like more confident in giving loan for cards, like long-term resident permit holders or like, citizens, let's say. Like with A cards, they're a bit scared because they don't want to take risks. So this is the first time we ever heard this, and which also meant like, not all banks are going to give for A cards. So this is something we had to take into consideration.
So seems like the small banks, actually 3 out of 6 banks that we reached out said that it's in their internal policy to not give loan to type A resident permit. It's a little bit sad because we both have permanent contracts, and the thing is we are also establishing mortgage protection, which is really expensive as you can imagine, as we told in our previous videos. So the banks have the legal stability to, they don't have basically any risk. Okay, if we are not able to pay the loan, or if you are going back to our country for some reason, for worst case scenario, they still are able to sell the property and get their money back. So they have their security, but some banks still don't give to temporary resident permit.
Which we completely don't really understand. What's the problem? If you're not going to pay my EMI, you're still going to have the property. You're still going to get it. What's the big deal, bro?
Yeah, and then we made more appointments. Again, we went back to our bank, which is a little bit bigger bank. because we didn't know about this point. Then we asked them and they said no, we don't have problem about this, and she mentioned the same point, you're making a mortgage protection, we have the house to sell if you're for some reason going away from this country.
So now that we know the ground reality, like three banks will give us our loan, and also in our previous appointment with our bank, which was the second appointment with the same bank, there was a really nice person actually. Like it was that meeting actually that pushed us a bit more to go, because everything else was like a bit neutral and like it was a bit of a risk. But she said like she really understood our background and what we're expecting for, and as a matter of fact, we both are having above average salaries, and she kind of encouraged the whole process. She said if it was me, I would approve it because I don't see a point of rejecting it. And she also gave us more insights of like different perspectives, and also we learned more, like a lot of things. And I think we were like comfortable in a stage to go take a big step.
Before moving on to next steps, I would like to add a few more points regarding to the loan for new projects, because it's a little bit different. It's not like you're paying whole amount of money. For new projects like this, you have to pay money in installment. Because it's a 2-year project, you can't pay everything in the beginning, and also they want money to build, and you can't pay everything in the end. So there is a definite bill system that they will give, and whenever they will send you a bill, you have to pay. So it's going to be in installments. So it's going to take 2 years also. So your interest starts from the moment the bank releases its first loan.
And also note that in this time frame, like for people like us who don't live with our parents, you also have your rent plus your EMI for whatever is going to be paid. So your bank will definitely check if you're capable of it.
Yes.
So now you're going to get your loan somehow, and then next was finding your own notary. Like we said in our previous videos, we prefer to have our own notary for multiple reasons. So we kind of like had a couple of them in our mind, and we first went to the first person, and yeah, we really didn't like the vibe. Like for example, with respect to this whole house thing, we were really specific with what we wanted, and we also wanted to work with people who were aligning with the way we feel. So the first person that we went, like he was just doing his job for the sake of doing the job. Yeah, he was good, no thing, but then he wasn't like, we really didn't get it. So we were like, okay, and then we again searched for another one, and we went to an expat friendly notary who was really a good person. I really liked the way she completely put her interest into this and explained us. So we had an appointment and we instantly clicked. So we were like, this is it, we're taking her as our notary.
So now comes the most important point, the sales agreement. It's called compromis in Dutch, and it's a very important document. So until this moment, you can come out of the project with no loss. But once you sign the sales agreement, you are committing to buy this apartment, and if there is no suspensive condition in this contract, you are basically finalizing the contract. Once you are signing this sales agreement, if you want to get out of a project, you are committing a loss.
There's another important thing to note, like we also had a suspensive condition in our compromis because we fall under some special conditions. Like in 6 weeks, if we are not able to secure a loan, like in case like we provide 3 rejection letters from the bank, we will be able to back off without any loss. Like we will still have to pay like the amount that it took to make the compromis and stuff, like we don't have to pay big amounts, but you just have to bear that thing. If you don't make the suspensive clause, like from the day you sign the compromis, you have 4 months to make the official deed. If there's no clause, you will have to buy the property if you get a loan or if you don't get a loan. And if you fail to do that, you'll have to pay 10% of the property as like a fine, which is a big amount.
Yeah.
So the day has come, and we signed the compromis, and once you sign the compromis, you also give 5% of the property to the notary, which also means like a chunk of your balance is already gone. And like I said before, under some special conditions, we have a specific amount of time to gain a loan. So basically our clock is ticking.
As he mentioned, the clock is ticking, so we wanted to be fast. So once we signed the sales agreement, we collected all the documents and applied online. We uploaded everything. And we just sent the application, and this is where we did the mistake, because we thought the application will go to the person we were in contact with, who was very supportive, and because of whom we actually signed the sales agreement. But unfortunately it went to a different person, and she did not come for a week. It was just stressing because, as we mentioned, we only have 6 weeks, and we were just panicking because if you don't get 3 rejection letter, we will incur a big loss if you don't get a loan.
Yeah.
So we were just calling again and again to push them, and she came back after a week. And the thing is, she was not up to the mark. After a week, actually, she was asking me, is this just a simulation, or you are applying for a
Yeah, like
loan?
seriously, after
She
all
did-
that we did, like,
She did not see any of the documents that we uploaded actually. Anyway, finally she made an appointment, but in this meeting we actually had a headache.
yeah, our heads truly heated up, and we feel like I'm saying it on a public platform, we hate her because we feel like she never did her homework properly, and she also had our savings wrong. She never even looked at our like bank and situation, and she just came up thinking we're just kids who are just wasting time. I'm sorry, like, we have spent almost a year to be wherever we are, and we just didn't like the whole thing. But anyway, we tried to like keep it down because we wanted to get going with this, and we tried to explain her we had our whole homework done and this is why we think we're capable of it. We had to convince her enough to let her know we know what we're talking. So finally, I think she understood that we're not going to back off. So she was like, okay, let me take to the head office and let's see. Yeah, she applied, and we waited for almost 2 to 3 weeks, and we got our response after that. Like, the whole duration of the wait was really traumatic because, yeah, she never properly responded to our emails. We get it, you don't like us, we get it. But that's not our problem, eh? We're here as a customer. You should do your job. We had to wait for almost 3 weeks to get our answer. Like, yeah, the answer was positive at the end.
So finally it was a positive answer, like she said. We got the loan approved by the head office, but we did not feel happy yet. We did not feel like we got the loan because of this traumatic experience. Anyway, like, we wanted to negotiate because in Belgium you are able to negotiate the interest rate and many other aspects with the banks. If other banks give you better rates. And from the previous person, actually, she told us that the first offer is not always the best offer. She told, and she encouraged us to actually negotiate.
Yeah.
And that's why we are confident that we will be able to ask for some negotiations, ask for some reduction. But she was so stubborn.
Yeah.
As you can imagine, she didn't like us. Yeah, so finally we had to say no to the offer. We said we don't want to sign because she was so stubborn. She didn't properly respond, so we rejected the offer.
I think he was a bit shocked that we rejected because, yeah, for someone with so much special conditions, getting a loan is a big deal. But we were like, you know what, we're rejecting it.
Yeah, but also you can imagine our suspensive condition is ending.
Yeah.
We took a big risk of rejecting the offer, but anyway, we knew that we are getting, at that point, we already knew that we are more or less getting the loan.
Yeah, so now we're in a condition where we don't have any offers. A suspensive condition has ended. We're obliged to proceed with the property. But anyway, the mistake I said earlier, the mistake I mean is, this is the mistake that we made. We lied a person in the bank who connected with us, who knew what we were up to. We should have gone to her in person or like online and applied through her. We were in a Delulu world. We were like, okay, let's do it online. We're thinking like magically she's going to pick our application. But so bad it was not the case. So this is something that we definitely learned.
So after rejecting the offer, we went again to the same bank, of course, because we like our current bank, and that's the bank which is giving the best rate actually, and is giving many good conditions actually. So we didn't want to go to other bank because we would have to incur more charges if you go to some other bank. So we went again offline this time. We chose a different person, more experienced, like more than 50 or so,
We wanted to choose the most experienced person because we felt only such people can understand us, because new ones think it's super expensive, middle ones think we're too young to get this done. We're so done with all this thing. So we wanted someone who was going to get the job done this time.
So we went offline, we took all the documents, but she did her homework really well. She went through all the documents and already knew what we are up to. So it was easy. We straight away jumped to the thing. We wanted to negotiate. We showed the other bank's offer and we told we have points here. We wanted you to negotiate for us. And she understood all the points and she checked with her superior. And actually we saved significant amount of money because of this. Because we rejected the offer and we went again to a different person with the same bank, and we could negotiate to get a better price.
Yeah, it felt like she was working towards us, not against us, like it really felt like it, and she understood and she gets it. It's a big amount, and even the smallest difference can make a big difference to your bank situation. So we really like such people, who are really helping. That's the whole point, I feel.
Yeah, actually you should be brave too, because it's you who are getting the loan and you are paying the interest for the bank, and the bank is gaining so much of money because you are getting a loan and you are going to be a customer for 20-25 years depending on the loan duration. So you can imagine you are valuable to them, not the bank,
the other way around.
So actually the bank person should work for you and also for the bank, not only for the bank.
So yeah, finally after all this we agreed and signed the loan offer. Yes, it was quite a journey for sure. I know if you've seen the video from the beginning, you would have known it for yourself. So if you're an expat, this is the whole process of what it takes to buy your new home, apartment or a house here in Kent. And these are the legal procedures which you have to be aware of. I hope there's some good takeaways that you can get, because I feel like when we're also looking for on the internet, we didn't really get a lot of information about it. And yeah. And also the banks that give for A card holders are KBC, ING and BNP. Thank me later.
The final step is executing the authentic deed, and this happens with your notary, and with the seller's notary they will make an appointment and you choose a date and you have to go there in person and you have to sign the authentic deed. First you have to execute the mortgage deed, which I mentioned as a mortgage protection for the bank. Only after you make mortgage deed you will be able to make the authentic deed, but both generally happens on the same day. So that's it. When you sign the authentic deed, you are the owner of new property.
Yeah, you're legally homeowners now.
Yes.
So that's just one thing I want to add. Like, if you're someone who's making it on your own, be it India or be it abroad or be it anywhere, you're building your own life from scratch. I must tell you, if nobody has told you, you should be proud of yourself, because it's so easy to live with your parents' money or your grandparents' inheritance and just have a chill life. But someone who makes it all from scratch, it's totally a whole different ball game, and you have to be proud of yourself. So with this, we come to the end of the video. End of the videos. So I hope this was really useful, and I believe you have some good takeaways. So yeah, you can also follow us on Instagram, where we share about our life and travel updates. Instagram is more cinematic and YouTube is more realistic, so you can see us live both lives. And yeah, I hope to see you all again in another useful video or another life experience. Until then, bye bye.